Hello there, it's Dr. Sarah Bennett here. You know, I've worked with older adults for over 20 years, and there's one quiet little problem that nearly everyone faces, but very few want to talk about: constipation. It creeps in slowly as we age. One day, we notice we're not as regular as we used to be. The next, we're feeling bloated, sluggish, and downright uncomfortable. Now, let me ask you something. Have you ever wondered if just a few slices of soft fruit in the morning could truly make a difference? Or what if a simple hand movement, just a gentle circle over your belly before bed, was enough to keep your gut moving like it used to? And what if, perhaps most surprising of all, you didn't need to rely on any medications at all? I know what you're thinking. It can't be that simple, right? But let me tell you something from my heart and from experience, both as a doctor and as a daughter watching her own aging parents. The body has an incredible ability to heal, to adjust, and to function well if we give it the right conditions. And the truth is, constipation in old age often isn't just about the good, it's about routine, hydration, and gentle self-care. I've tried these methods myself. I've seen them work time and again in my clinic and even in my own home. One of the most surprising changes happened with my aunt, who had been struggling for years until we adjusted just a few tiny habits. No pills, no harsh laxatives, just kindness to the body. So today, I'd like to walk you through 5 simple drug-free home remedies that have helped hundreds of my patients and myself feel lighter, freer, and more at ease. Each one is gentle. Each one is easy to remember. And yes, any senior can do it, even if you've never done anything like this before. Because, after all, caring for your gut isn't just about comfort, it's about reclaiming peace and energy in this beautiful stage of life. Let's begin. 1. Drink warm water with lemon every morning. Now, let me tell you a little story about my Aunt Clara. She's 84 this year. A quiet, thoughtful woman with snow-white hair and the gentlest hands you've ever seen. For years, she struggled with slow digestion days without any movement, feeling heavy and uncomfortable. And like many of us, she thought that was just a part of getting old. But one morning, I visited her and saw her sipping on a small ceramic mug, steam rising gently into the soft light of her kitchen. I asked, "What's that, Aunt Clara?" She smiled, tapped her spoon lightly, and said, "Warm water with a squeeze of lemon. Your uncle read about it in a gardening magazine, of all places." At first, she thought it was nothing, just something warm to start the day. But by the 3rd morning, she looked at me and said, "Sarah, I don't know how to explain it, but I feel lighter." You see, warm water in the morning acts like a gentle nudge to your digestive system. It's like opening the curtains in a dark room, letting the sun in. It tells your stomach, your intestines, "Good morning, it's time to wake up." And when you add lemon juice, a little tangy, just a few drops, you're giving your liver and gut a gentle, natural boost. Lemon stimulates bile production and encourages your system to move along slowly and smoothly. Now, this isn't a miracle cure, but it's simple. And it's something any of us can do. You don't need a fancy machine or an expensive detox kit. Just warm water, not hot, not cold, and a slice of fresh lemon. Sometimes, it's the smallest rituals that bring the biggest changes. I've had patients in their 70s and 80s come back after a week and tell me they feel more comfortable, more regular, more themselves. One gentleman even told me, "Doc, I feel like my body finally knows what time it is in the morning again." Isn't that a beautiful thought? And here's something even more comforting. Starting your day with something warm and nourishing isn't just good for your body, it's a kindness to your spirit. It's a way of saying, "Today, I choose to take care of myself, gently, patiently." So tomorrow morning, before the coffee, before the phone calls and the day's worries, take just a moment. Boil some water, let it cool slightly, add that little squeeze of lemon, and take a sip. Feel it move through you, warm, calm, cleansing. Because your body remembers, and sometimes it just needs a quiet reminder. 2. Add fiber from soft fruits. After Aunt Clara got into the habit of drinking warm lemon water each morning, we started talking about the next step food. Not supplements, not powders in a bottle, but simple, everyday food. I asked her, "What kind of fruit do you usually eat?" She looked at me and said, "Well, sometimes I have an apple, but they feel a bit hard these days." That's when I smiled and said, "Let's try something softer." You see, when we age, our digestive systems can become more sensitive. Hard, crunchy foods might have been easy to handle in our 40s and 50s, but in our 70s or 80s, they can feel like a chore for the gut. That's why I often recommend soft fruits, gentle, moist, and full of the right kind of fiber. Plums, pears, and kiwi are some of my favorites. They're not only sweet and easy to chew, but they're also packed with soluble fiber, the kind that blends with water in the gut and forms a soft, gel-like consistency. This helps soften the stool without causing gas or bloating, which can be a big issue with other high-fiber foods. One of my patients, Mr. Alvarez, a retired postman in his late 70s, had been struggling with irregularity. He told me, "Doctor, I tried fiber bars and cereal, but they just made me feel puffy and uncomfortable." We switched him to sliced pears in the morning and a small kiwi in the afternoon. Within a week, he called and said, "You won't believe it. I feel like everything's working again." That's the beauty of soft fruit. It's not only easy on the digestive tract, it also brings joy back to eating. A ripe pear with its floral aroma, a juicy plum with its vibrant purple skin, a kiwi with that slight tang and tropical freshness. These aren't just remedies, they're small pleasures. And at this stage of life, we deserve those. Now, if you're wondering how much to eat, I usually say start small. One piece of fruit in the morning, perhaps another with your afternoon tea, and listen to your body. Some people feel the difference in just 2 or 3 days. For others, it may take a week, but the shift comes gently, like morning light through the curtain. And here's a little secret I often share. The effects of these fruits are even more noticeable when paired with something else. A tiny trick I'll tell you about in remedy number 4. It's not complicated, and it doesn't involve pills or powders. Just a small addition that makes these fruits even more effective. So don't underestimate the power of something as humble as a pear. Sometimes, the answers we're looking for are sitting right there in a bowl on the kitchen table. All we need is a little curiosity and the willingness to care for ourselves with softness. 3. Simple belly movement, just 3 minutes before bed. There's a gentleman I met years ago while attending a medical exchange program in Kyoto, Japan. He was 92 years old, thin as a reed, with eyes that sparkled like he was holding a secret. I asked him once, during a quiet evening tea, what his secret was for staying regular at that age. He chuckled, placed a hand on his stomach, and said, "Every night, before sleep, just circles. Slow, kind circles." What he showed me was so simple, I almost didn't believe it could make any real difference. But after watching how graceful and calm his life seemed even in his 90s, I paid close attention. That night, he lay back gently on his futon, placed both hands on his abdomen, and began to move them in soft, clockwise circles. "Breathe slowly," he said, "and let the belly listen." Since then, I've taught this same movement to hundreds of my patients, and more than a few friends. Just 3 minutes. You lie in bed, perhaps after brushing your teeth and tucking in for the night. Place your palms gently over your lower belly. Then, in slow, even motions, start to draw circles always clockwise, because that's the natural direction of your colon. No pressure, no rush. Just soft circles, one after another, breathing slowly all the while. You may even start to feel little bubbles, soft movements inside. That's your gut saying, "Thank you, I'm awake again." Why does this work? Well, as we grow older, our digestive system can become sluggish. Peristalsis, the wave-like motion that helps move things through our intestines, can slow down. Gentle abdominal massage helps stimulate that motion. It's not forceful, it's not invasive. It's just a way of reminding the body to keep going, to stay alive inside. One of my favorite patients, Mrs. Delaney, 78, had been taking laxatives every other day for nearly 5 years. When we first talked about this belly massage, she laughed and said, "You really think touching my tummy like that is going to fix me?" But she was willing to try. After a week, she called me and said, "Sarah, I woke up this morning and, well, everything moved, and I didn't even need the pills." It's moments like those that remind me how powerful the body can be when treated with softness and patience. So tonight, when you lie down, take a moment. Let your hands rest where your body needs the most care. Move slowly. Breathe deeply. Imagine each circle unlocking a little bit of energy that's been stuck. You don't need music. You don't need oils, just your hands and your breath. And when morning comes, you just might feel a little lighter, a little more comfortable, and perhaps even a bit proud because you did it without needing anything but your own touch. 4. Eat 1 spoonful of olive oil before breakfast. This next remedy might sound a little strange at first. A spoonful of oil before breakfast? But let me tell you a story from the hills of southern Italy, of the many beautiful corners of the Mediterranean. I was visiting a small coastal village a few years ago, meeting with local physicians and elders. And I kept hearing the same thing from the older folks there, especially the women in their 70s and 80s. A spoon of olive oil first thing, every day before coffee, before food. At first, I thought it was just an old cultural habit. But the more I listened, the more I understood this was a deeply rooted tradition, passed down through generations. And the results? Remarkable. Constipation was far less common there, especially among the elderly. Their digestion stayed active, and they often seemed more energized in the mornings, moving through the day with a kind of graceful ease. So, I started recommending it to my own patients. Just 1 tablespoon of extra virgin olive oil, taken slowly on an empty stomach before breakfast. The result? Many of them reported improvements within days. Why does this work? Olive oil has natural lubricating properties. When you take it before food, it lines your digestive tract, especially the colon, and helps soften everything inside, making it easier to pass without strain. It's like giving your insides a gentle coat of silk before the work of digestion begins. There's something very gentle, very nourishing about olive oil. It doesn't shock the body. It doesn't force anything to move. Instead, it encourages motion, like a gentle nudge rather than a shove. And here's the lovely bonus. Olive oil isn't just good for digestion. It's packed with healthy fats that support heart function, lower inflammation, and even help maintain memory in later years. One of my longtime patients, Mr. Franklin, who's 81 and still walks his dog twice a day, told me after trying it for a week, "I feel like my gut finally stopped arguing with me in the morning. And my joints, they don't creak as much either." It's a small habit, 1 spoon, less than a minute of your day. But in that small act, you're doing something ancient, something wise. You're honoring your body the way people have for centuries before pills, before prescriptions, before powders. So tomorrow, when you head to the kitchen, pause for a moment before the toast or the tea. Reach for that little green bottle. Pour just a spoonful. Sip it slowly. Let it coat your throat, warm your belly, and ease its way through you. And remember, this isn't just about avoiding discomfort. It's about setting the tone for the whole day. A day that begins not in rush or resistance, but in care. Gentle, golden, healing care. 5. Establish a golden bathroom hour. There's something incredibly powerful about rhythm, especially when it comes to our bodies. I remember one patient, Mr. Harold, who was in his early 80s and had this wonderfully dry sense of humor. During one of our appointments, I asked about his morning routine, and he grinned and said, "Doc, Every morning at 7:15, without fail coffee goes in, and 15 minutes later, well, you can guess what happens. He wasn't joking. For years, he'd trained his body to expect the same gentle pattern every day. And because of that, his digestion was smooth, predictable, and most importantly, comfortable. No pills, no pushing, no stress, just routine. The truth is, your gut loves rhythm. It thrives on consistency. When we wake up, eat, and move at different times every day, our digestive system becomes confused. But when we keep a steady schedule, the gut learns. It begins to prepare itself, and over time, it remembers when it's time to move. That's why I encourage every senior I work with to create what I call a golden bathroom hour. Choose a time each day, ideally in the morning, when your body is naturally ready to eliminate waste. Pair it with a small routine, a warm drink, a few minutes of quiet, maybe a short walk or that belly massage we spoke about earlier. The goal isn't to rush the body, it's to teach it to expect consistency. It might feel silly at first, especially if you've been dealing with irregularity for years. You might sit there with a cup of tea and think, nothing's happening. But give it time. Be gentle. This isn't a race, it's a retraining. Like teaching a child how to ride a bike again, your body needs a little patience, a little encouragement, and a lot of kindness. You can even create a calm, comfortable bathroom environment. Soft lighting, maybe a little music, a warm towel nearby. All these small details help signal to your nervous system, it's time to relax. You're safe. You can let go now. One woman I worked with, Mrs. Nguyen, told me that she lit a small candle every morning at 6:45. She didn't always need the bathroom right away, but lighting that candle became a message to her body. We're beginning. After 2 weeks, she noticed she was going at the same time nearly every day. She said it felt like her body had come back home. And if it doesn't happen right away, that's okay. Be patient. Some people need 3 or 4 days. Others need a couple of weeks. But almost everyone I've worked with who stayed consistent eventually saw improvement. The key isn't perfection, it's repetition. So think about your day. When do you have quiet? When can you give yourself 5 or 10 minutes without pressure? That's your golden hour. Claim it. Keep it. And let your body relearn a rhythm that's been waiting to return. Because you deserve ease. You deserve peace. And sometimes, all it takes is giving your body permission to find its rhythm again. So there you have it, 5 gentle, natural remedies that don't require a single pill. Just warm water, soft fruits, a few quiet minutes of touch, a golden spoonful of olive oil, and a moment each day to honor your body's rhythm. These aren't complicated, they aren't expensive, but they are powerful because they speak the same language your body does. Slow, steady, and kind. If there's one thing I've learned after all these years walking beside my patients through the aging process, it's this. Healing doesn't always come from the pharmacy. Sometimes, it comes from the quiet choices we make before the sun rises, from how we hold our body when no one's watching, from the love we pour into the simple rituals of daily life. Constipation might be common in older age, but suffering doesn't have to be. When we treat our gut with patience and presence, when we support it with rhythm and nourishment, we give ourselves back something precious, ease. And I want that for you, not just today, but every day forward. So tell me in the comments below, which of these have you tried before? Or which one are you curious to begin with tomorrow morning? I would love to hear your story. And if you know someone, a friend, a spouse, a neighbor who's quietly struggling, perhaps this video might be the gentle encouragement they need too. If you found this helpful, give it a thumbs up and consider subscribing. I'll be right here sharing more gentle ways to care for your beautiful, aging body, one small step at a time. Until next time, take care of yourself the way you would care for someone you deeply love, because you deserve that kind of tenderness too.